Welcome to the Sample Chapter Podcast, the show where authors read a sample chapter from one of their books. Here's your host, Jason A. Meiske.
Hello, Sample Chapter listeners, and welcome to episode 297 of the show. Hey, happy St. Patrick's Day. By the way, it is March 17th, and it's St. Patrick's Day, so hopefully you got your green on and avoid getting pinched, unless that's what you're into. So, hey, this week, our guest from 296 is returning, Daniel Sheley. He is back this week with a sample chapter from his latest book. It's book one of the Veritas Saga, The Soul Sung. It's chapter one of the book. It's riveting. It really sets the scene well, and I think you're going to like this. It's got some mystery and intrigue going on, and really whets your appetite to figure out what's going to happen next. So that's coming up here in just a second. As for me, yeah, we're still working on some of my own stories. Got my first draft all done with the new short story for the anthology and turned in. Getting ready to go over some edits with that with the team. And then I've been also really making a lot of progress on the direwolf story that I'm writing and having a lot of fun with that too. So, as always, once those are ready and they're done, I'll be sharing more information about them with you, my sample chapter listeners. If you're interested in any of my books, whether it's the Bandit Chronicles, which there will be a prequel to that later this year, maybe you like ghosts and haunted places like 9 Mile Bridge, or maybe you're interested in a writer who is accused of killing other writers for their stories in a novel idea. I have all of those stories and more in the show notes. You can click that link and check out all of my books that are available. And they're on Kindle, so you can download them for free. I am also in the process of going through the steps of getting some Audible set up. I really want to get some audiobooks, and I'm still looking at the likely prospect that I'll just go ahead and do the audio myself. I mean, I've got a studio, I've got everything I need, and I've had more than one person tell me that they really like it when the author themselves are the ones reading the book. So we'll see. I may explore that. If that would be something of interest to you, let me know. I could definitely do voices for most of my books. I'm not so sure about 9 Mile Bridge since I have a teenage girl as the protagonist. I don't know if I can pull off that voice, but we'll see. I don't know. Does it let me know if that's something, does it bother you when a male is pretending to be female, or male or female is pretending to be male on there? I gotta admit, I don't really think too much about it whenever I'm listening to audiobooks. It depends on the narrator, I guess, and how well they commit to the role. But a lot of the audiobooks that I've listened to in the past, I think they do a really good job. So I don't know. I guess it just depends on how I'm feeling, and if I think I can pull off, well, do the character justice. We'll put it that way. Anyway, before we get on over to the sample chapter with Daniel, make sure you can also check out in the show notes links to last week's episode, the interview with Daniel. Had a great conversation. We talked about subjects like the role of music, rhythm, and cadence in his writing, how writing is orchestra. We discussed his military background and how that shaped his writing perspectives, the creation of the Veritas Saga, and his future plans for that series, and so much more, including an interesting side note about toast. And I'm just going to leave that hanging. So if you want to know more about that, if you want to hear the interview, click that link in the show notes. You can go back and check out last week's episode. Meanwhile, how about we go ahead and hop on over to chapter one of The Soul Sung, read to you by the author, Daniel Sheley.
Chapter 1. Denny. The stars watched him. Denny had always believed it, seen in the shimmer when the wind stilled. Lately, he wasn't sure if they watched with kindness. Sometimes he thought they answered, as if the Vim, the breath beneath all things, peered through the night sky, waiting to be remembered. It was less a thought than a tug, a thread catching in him. He felt it in the stilling of his hands, and the silence gathered it, and the pull of his eyes towards the fire that burned above. The elders called it omens. Tara called it foolish. To Denny, it was simpler, a private belief kept quiet that someone, something might be reaching out to be heard, to be seen. And tonight, the stars felt impossibly close, their light pressing against his skin like half-remembered touch. He lay on his back atop a ridge of black stone above Dustmere. The stone still held the day's warmth. The sky stretched endlessly above him, purple, the edges fading to rose. Already pinpricks of white emerged, first the sentinel star, then its silent kin, each one dotting the night sky in an endless array of light. The veil had begun to sleep, but Denny's thoughts refused to join it. The air smelled of cedar sap, wet moss, and distant hearth smoke. His fingers absently toyed with the braided leather bracelet circling his wrist, the knot stiff from years of wear. It should have been a sacred night. He was supposed to be at the rite. He had painted his arms, whispered his vows. Miss it, and you wait a year to be counted among the adults. He should have completed it twice already, and many had begun to call him irresponsible, a lost cause. But the longing beneath his ribs had driven him here instead. An ache he could neither name nor ease. It was a shape left behind when something precious had gone missing, a gnawing that refused to be dismissed. He simply needed the sky. Denny! The voice came from behind him, familiar, yet edged with amusement. He sat up as Tara approached, the fading light catching the amber flecks in her hazel eyes. Something in his chest shifted. The pull, once diffused and wordless, coiled tighter at her presence. Her arrival tethered him back to the world. Her hair was wind-matted, framing her face. Dusk light rippled across her cheekbones, drawing gold from the lines in her jaw. Her sun-bronzed skin bore the marks of the road. Her stance carried the stone-still watchfulness of long days, and her eyes kept a sharp, steady fire. "You missed the rite," she said, folding her arms. "Again." He shrugged, looked back at the sky, and brushed a curl from his eyes. "There'll be another next year." She sighed and dropped beside him with the heavy grace of someone who used to carrying more than her share. Her shoulder bumped him, shifting his balance. "You can't keep drifting, Denny. Leori noticed you were gone too. She covered for you." He tensed. "She didn't have to." "She always does. That's not the point." His jaw tightened, his breath sharp in his throat. He didn't deserve her loyalty. All he did was run, avoiding the responsibility the elders tried to lay on him. They sat in the hush. The sky deepened above them. Then Tara added more gently, "You don't have to want what the rest of us want, but you can't pretend you don't belong to it. We need you, even if you don't know why yet." He didn't reply, just stared upward. Her words clung like smoke. He felt them, but could not move through them. After a while, Tara stood and brushed her hands. "Come down before the fires die. You can still share the last songs, and thank Leori." Her tone edged sharper on the last. He nodded faintly, but didn't rise. She paused, watching him. Her voice was quieter now, almost wistful. "Whatever it is you're waiting for out here, I hope it's worth it." And then she was gone, her footsteps fading down the slope. He lay back down, watching the stars climb higher. The wind changed. Somewhere far below, a drumbeat echoed slow and fading. The village was already settling into stillness. Soon the songs would start. He didn't know how long he stayed there. Overhead, the stars shifted, sketching new constellations across the bruised sky. Warmth fled the stone, replaced by creeping chill that seeped through his shirt into his spine. Long enough for the firelight in the valley to thin. long enough for the cold to bite through the rock. He rose, stretching long limbs, stiff from stillness. Time to head down to take the elder's scolding. He cast one look at the stars. Then the sky split. A column of flame tore into the night. From his ridge he saw it all. The first wave of fire arcing down from the northern crest, smoke blooming upward like a black flower, and the shadow of something vast moving at its heart. The figure was colossal, each wing beat cracking the air like thunder broken loose from the sky. To Denny, it seemed less like a creature than a storm wearing flesh. His breath locked for a moment. All he could do was stare. He had no name for it. Stories spoke of lizards with wings, but this was no lizard. This was a force that moved through as it had done 1,000 times and would keep doing it until nothing remained. At its heels came another, smaller, faster, fire-wrapped. It slammed into the first, and together they tumbled from the sky, crashing towards the valley below. Their wings snapped the air, long necks arched low, tearing through the smoke. Scales flared dull gold and ember red, where firelight caught them. Their tails lashed behind, felling trees like twigs. Denny's mind clawed for a hole, but nothing gave him shape for what he saw. Screams cut through the valley, high, sharp, human. Smoke bled through the trees. He saw why. A sweep of the giant's wings crushed huts like kindling. Fire poured from its jaws, liquid flames spilling across rooftops until they folded inward with shrieks, still trapped inside. The ground buckled when its claws struck, stone cracking like bread crust. Everything it touched broke, burned, or vanished. And he was still standing. His breath rasped, curse breaking, half-formed, head shaking as if refusal might wake him. His feet moved before thought caught up. Stones slipped beneath him, and he scrambled down the ridge. The stars blurred above. His ribs clenched and fire bloomed through them. He ran without a plan, legs burning, breath ragged, every instinct screaming to flee, yet every stride dragged him closer to the village. Branches raked his arms, smoke thickened, sour and choking, stinging his eyes until they watered. Screams reached him only as echoes, stretched thin and already fading. When he broke through the trees, only the crack of burning kindling remained. The village lay gutted. Roofs had collapsed inward, beams blackened and skeletal. Banners and prayer threads that once caught wind with color sagged in ruins. A door still swinging from one hinge tapped a broken rhythm in the heat-drenched wind. Cinder and smoke pressed close. The world glowed red and orange, all other colors stripped away. A figure stumbled from a doorway, close aflame before collapsing face first into the dirt. Another body lay half buried beneath a fallen beam, hand outstretched as if clawing towards escape. The smell hit worse than smoke. Burnt hair, marrow, the bitter sting of flesh searing through bone. Denny gagged, bile sharp in his throat. Bodies twisted on the ground, limbs locked mid-motion, strings cut. The ancestor stone lay split in two. Soot drifted heavily through the air, falling slowly as dust. He staggered forward, stomach hollow. "Please," he whispered, though to whom he could not name. His foot caught. He bent and found a child's toy. It was half charred, carved in the shape of a dusk beast. He dropped it as if burned. His throat closed. His jaws shook. Not from cold, but from a helplessness he had no name for. His fingers jerked, twitching for something unseen. A hand, a weapon, a prayer. His mind screamed for answers. Mira, Kaylee, Tara, the Ori. Gone. The vim pressed inside him, recoiling from what remained. Then the movement cut through the haze. Wings split the smoke, dark as obsidian, veined with burning gold. A vast beast rose in the sky, each beat slow, terrible, assured. Its presence crushed him, storm given shape, hunter given breath. But another figure stayed behind, crouched near the shattered stone, Her body rose higher than any hut, four-limbed, regal, wings torn and trailing. Silver scales dulled and blood wet, peeling back like metal beaten too thin. Even broken, her frame carried the weight of the heavens. She did not rise. She watched. And Denny, trembling, watched back. Her head lifted, her eyes burned with the dim light of a star refusing to die. You are the one who watches the stars. The voice struck his bones. The vim inside him surged violent and certain. His chest locked, words scraped loose, cracked and thin. Who are you? Her gaze lingered, almost fond. Do not fear, stargazer. I am Yvera, watcher, keeper, and fool who thought mercy could stand against fury. Blood pooled at her feet, streaming in the cold night. Her torn flank split with each breath, but she stood taller than any tower Duskmare had known. Albion, she rasped. He once bore the name Watcher, too. He is pride, hollowed into ruin. The name struck Denny heavily in the chest. A roar answered from far off, inevitable. He came to break your people. No crime but existing. I held him as long as I could, and still, you stand. Tears burned tracks down Denny's soot-stained cheeks. His shoulders curled inward, as if to shield what had already been taken. He came for you, Yvera whispered, to draw me out. I stood. I slowed him, barely. Her step scraped claws, carving furrows in the scorched ground. Her ruined wing dragged sparks of blood splattering like embers. Each motion drained her, yet still she moved toward him. You're dying, Denny said, voice breaking. Why keep speaking? Why waste strength? Her exhale trembled, almost laughter. Because I must. The vim stirs still. It must endure. Her claws curled weakly, valve flickered, softened into sorrow. I do not know if you are the answer. You are only what remains. Her eyes fixed on him, steady even through the tremor. This duty should never have been yours. But I have no choice. Her breath came rough, but her words cut clear. The vim is no gift, stargazer. It is a scar of the first breath. If it forgets, if it dies with me, the world will not shatter, it will hollow. Flow will still, beasts will vanish, silence will reign. Change will end, and when change dies, the vim dies too. Her voice cracked, but she forced it through. So I pass it on, not because you're ready, because the stars chose you, but because you are here, and the song must not end. She fell to one knee, and Denny stepped forward instinctively, driven by something more profound than fear. Her clawed talons lifted slowly, each motion labored. Cracked silver scales caught bashlight, blood glinting in the grooves between. Talons, once sharp and sure, now trembled. I was human once. Before scale, before oath, the word struck something profound in Denny. Not fear or awe, but a strange resonance, like hearing the echo of a song he had never learned but somehow remembered. He didn't fully understand, but the shift had begun. He felt it. I stood once when others fled. So must you. She pressed the tip of her talon to his chest. It was more than contact, weight and warmth and remembrance, a pressure that sank past skin and bone, reaching for the soul itself. You will change. She pressed the talon harder, the pressure almost intimate. Rage will tempt you. Endure. Denny's eyes blurred as heat coursed through him. Foreign and alive. There was no pain. It felt like remembering something that was never his. Like a grief too old to name pulling him inward. Sweat broke across his brow. His fingers trembled. For a breathless moment, it felt like his blood had been set alight from within. Go beyond the Red Ridge wilds, past tribe and law, over the storm spine. Seek Saravai. Only she can help you survive the change that is to come. He tried to speak, to beg for more time, but she shook her head faintly. Her grip tightened for the briefest instant, because when death came on wings, when fire devoured kin, and hope fled, you stayed. You looked. You did not turn away. Her claw slipped free. Yuvera collapsed. And in that moment, the Vim ignited. Above him the sky bloomed soft and possibly blue. Gentle arcs of light danced through the ruptured village like a sigh, released slowly. A beauty that felt wrong after so much destruction. The air shimmered, not with heat, but with something older, like a trace given shape or mercy made visible. Ash drifted upward instead of down. The stone beneath him thrummed. Denny's knees buckled. The sound of a song pressed from within, too vast. He gasped, his vision fractured. The stars spun wildly. The world folded sideways, and darkness claimed him before he could hit the ground. No dreams, no work, only stillness.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Daniel Sheley reading a sample chapter from his latest book, The Soul Song, Book 1 of the Veritas Saga. Hey, that was a great sample chapter, and I know you're going to want to check out more, so click that link in the show notes for more about Daniel, his Amazon links, his website, and his blog. He's also got social media links within there as well. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out next time when I'm back with a new author, a new book, and a brand new sample chapter. Take care, everybody, and happy St. Patrick's Day.